G'day. Welcome to another show match. Oh, no. Sorry. Welcome to another weekend of show matches, I should say. We're just waiting on the Hoover. I'll be 1 second. So first game today is going to be on inland, so it's a bit of a bigger map, but it's a bit deceptive really because there's a lot of water on it. There's usually there's 3 to 5 lakes, so usually you get 3 or 5. You can occasionally get the 4 lake map. It's a little bit rarer, but you still get it. And we're just waiting for our players. Come on, Hoover, don't let me down. Oh, here we go. It's joined. Mustn't have got the invite the first time around. Alright, so Hoover on blue, Alundra on red, I believe. Yes, that's correct. And I'll just make sure our players are ready. Like I said, we're going to have inland for map number 1. Mountain crossing for number 2. Again, another map with a little bit of water on it, but not shared water in either case, really. Although you can sort of fight for the water in either map and on inland, because it's all in the center of the map. You will eventually sort of look to put pressure on one another's water, for sure. And then equal footing is the final map, if we make it that far. Oh, for Hoover's just going to be a sec. And yeah, guys, we'll be getting this underway in just a minute. Alright guys, so we are ready to go. Gonna get this one underway. Looks as though it's a Persia from the Hoover versus Babylonian, as can be expected for now. from Alundra. It will be interesting to see when Alundra decides to make the switch to playing another civilization a bit more in show match settings. So we're loading in right now. Alrighty. So we've actually got a 5 pond inland today. So it means a very expensive water-based map, and thank you for the follow. We've got spawning as player 1 today. I always like to do player 1 first. Sorry, Alondra. Spawning as player 1 today. We got the Hoover as the blue Persian player. So the Hoover played in a few tournaments now. Bit of a reputation as being a pretty solid player. I mean, he usually beats the pants off me, I'll say that much. So, Alundra spawning in as the red Babylonian player today. Recently won the Finbar's Finest tournament, organised by yours truly. And yeah, he's showing up today against the Hoover, who is a pretty solid player, played in some of the higher level tournaments, had a pretty good showing in the opening rounds in them, and then unfortunately losing out against some of the tournament favourites. So both of them opening for an early barracks here with a double villager rally onto it, but Hoover's just a tad faster for Alundra. Actually scouting that, but Hoover looks to just be doing a bit more of a macro sort of scout back at home for now. And it looks as though Alundra's found 2 waters, for Hoover's found 1 up here, and he's going to find this other one here. So, you know, the beauty of being spectator, we get to see all this water, but the players don't. So the way you can actually tell which ones they've seen is where the fish have been seen. And right now, Alundra producing some spears for Hoover. Has a Sparrow out, a couple Sparrow out, just short of a bit of food there. It's a little bit laggy actually. So there's a couple of spears heading around this side. Well, there's some Sparrow heading around this side actually. So looks as though Alundra's a little bit ahead in the chase, and Hoover's a little bit ahead in the chase, and is going to spot his opponent. But at the same time, he is going to look at pulling back to defend instead of applying the pressure first. So Alundra has this idle Spearman here. Is about to have a 1v2 situation here. 1v3 situation there. So the Hoover with a quick response there, noticing that his opponent's spears were going to be on a different angle to his Sparrow, adjusting quickly. But right now Alundra has sent in this single Spearman. Seems to be getting a bit of value out of this, because the Hoover hasn't actually rallied this. Oh, so that's a big kill there for Alundra, because both players having opened with the barracks first each, and if you can trade the units all day and one another, but unless you're getting the villager kills, it's pretty inconsequential if it's a pretty even death count. But it looks as though Alundra is going to lose a handful of spears for this actually. Nearly all 4 of them. In fact, probably all 4 of them at this point. The Sparrows rally on to just about all of them. So they are going to go down, 1 of them, 2 of them. And the 3rd falling now, so the Hoover. Oh, actually, the Hoover only on 14 villages. Alundra up to 17, so I think the Hoover struggling a bit with his. I think he might have been housed then for a second, because he's actually behind in villages by a little bit now, and equal in population with Alundra, who. Oh, there we go. How many? 2, 3 ox carts for Alundra. So, okay, so. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, there we go. So. Just looked as though he's about 5 population ahead there, even though he'd only killed the 1 villager. But I suppose he has all the ox carts as well, and the aging up of the Babylonian, because it's a building rather than having to age up. He can continue producing villages, but right now Alundra actually not producing any villages, and being harassed here by the Hoover, who's managed to pick off the ox cart. So that's a really good snipe, because now the Hoover He's going to be able to pick off some villages as well. And not having the ox cart means Alundra's going to have to train one up quickly. Otherwise, the villagers are just going to have to be retasked onto another resource, which they're probably not needed. And Hoover sacrificing his Sparrow, but getting a spear kill, actually getting the Sparrow out of there and scouting the dock here. And I don't know if Alundra's actually scouted that yet. We'll check that in a second. Right now, Hoover has this big clump of Sparrow in Alundra's base, so he's managed to position this really, really well to take out, yeah, the ox cart and a couple of villages. Another villager there on the gold mine, and Alundra is really having to defend with all of his might right now. He does have the unit count advantage here now, I think. Yeah, so 6 to 8 there, but Alundra only on 18 villages now, and Hoover on 18 as well, aging up. So he's managed to sort of buy himself an even ground there. And I don't know if Alundra's actually scouted this just yet. So he hasn't, so there's no fishing ship just yet, but it is on the way. Alundra is getting one himself and is going to be able to defend against this. So Hoover's going to have to be a bit careful here to not lose too much. Possibly even just sacrifice these guys to let these guys out. It looks like Alundra's going to try and chase down as much as he can, get as much value out of this catch here. But he might actually throw these guys away because there's a bit of a reinforcement there at the Sparrow. And so we got the fishing boats out for both players, H2 for both players. And Hoover actually has a fair bit of extra stone. He's overgathered there a little bit. Alundra hasn't actually started gathering any stone just yet. So Alundra is actually pushing out a range, while Hoover only on one production facility, but he may look at taking another lake here, and he does have a good Sparrow count. He is up by 2 population at this point. Alundra sneaking in that little, so that's a good upgrade, especially with that conservation. It just means that you're going to get that much more fish, probably an extra 750 fish per lake. I mean 750 food per lake, which really adds up to being quite a bit on a map like this when it's a 5 pond setting. If you can contest all that water, or at least get on 2 at the very least, then you're going to get a hell of a lot of value out of that. But right now, some slingers coming out, not the best choice I don't think right now, but in saying that, he's probably predicting bowmen from the Persian, so he's sort of trying to think one step ahead there with the unit composition and taking picker's gloves and handsaw as quickly as he can there. Alundra getting a garden as well. So Hoover getting on a second lake. Alundra only on 1 for the time being. Chasing his opponent out. Falling behind in score now. But these upgrades kicking in are going to probably buy him back a bit more. But right now I'm not sure who's... I think the Hoover's got the advantage here with the unit count. So he does actually. There are a couple of reinforcements here. One of these slingers actually going to the high ground. Pity there's no high ground damage bonus. Ooh, it looks as though Alundra's able to turn that around. Those reinforcements. Does have a bowman in the mix, so this is really going to start being of a bit more value. Getting that bonus damage, but oh, now that he's tried to rally away. The bowman's at the back there, so he has to be careful of that. The spear seems to be taking all the damage though, so he'll get snared. Hoover actually backing off a bit himself. So Alundra back down to 1 dock still, and Hoover on 2. Alundra only just getting his stone for the town centre now, but Hoover hasn't actually taken his second town centre yet, so he's had 500 stone in the bank all this time. All this score lead hasn't actually managed to translate it into eco, but I mean he does have the dock, at least I'll give him that. But yes, he does have this. Now he's showing down the town centre, so this is a really good position though. He's getting all these resources. Might or might not put a storehouse there if he has to, but he doesn't have to put one here, doesn't have to put one for the wood line. So he's getting a lot of value out of that town centre position. Alundra is going to be a bit delayed on that because he is going to go for more gardens. Going to go for more houses. Probably going to go for a stables too, knowing Alundra. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's going to fit it in before the town centre, because for Hoover is racing ahead in terms of population now. Has managed to continually produce Sparrow. Starting to get some bowmen now, and it'll be Question of when he actually adds the Asabara into his composition, or if he actually continues to stick with barracks and range production. Alundra getting the stables out now, so like I said, forcing that out before he gets the town centre, because he really wants to get those lancers out, force the Persian to have to get Spearmen, and possibly even some Asabara just to deal with the lancers, as well as want to get Asabara to raid as well, because it can be a very raid intensive matchup, this one. Both civs have really good stables options, with the Babylonian having the lancers and the mounted archers. Persians also have their own mounted archers, and yeah, it just makes for really nice stables v stables opportunities. It looks as though the Hoover going to attempt the dock snipers. Alundra is pushing out to try and attempt the same, probably. And Alundra has taken the pharmacology tech, so the Babylonian unique tech for healing for all units, all military units that is. But it looks as though the Hoover a little bit faster, has enough units here and has enough range here to pick away all the boats. Just going to pick away the fishing ships, going to snipe the dock, and he's going to finish his stables in time. So Alundra is going to want to try and finish that building off, try and slow down the Hoover's production, but it seems as though he's got a bit too much resources in the bank now. So having gone for the barracks himself seems to have really paid off for the Hoover here, because he's managed to deny Alundra's early push, and he's got a little bit of a macro advantage now. Got the two fishing ships on that second lake, has sniped his opponent's position on the water there, so getting another stables now. Asabara are going to be added into the mix, and they're going to have all these bowmen just right outside the stables there, as the front line's being mopped up too. So the Hoover now has a 20 population lead over Alundra, 32 villages to 45, so getting the second town centre out has really paid a dividend for the Hoover. He's managed to defend 2 town centre versus 1, with the 2 dock versus 1, sniped the dock as well. So Alundra really going to be slow on that second town centre, and yeah, he's not in the best position economically compared to his opponent now. He's no longer a step behind or just playing the more aggressive strategy of the two. He's actually feeling the pressure, I think, because he's taking a bit of a hit there. The ox cart being a bit of distance gathered from all sides of the wood line there, and Alundra down by about 35 pop now, 40 pop. Actually, no, he's down by 50 pop. Jesus. So the Hoover is macroing up much better at the moment, has a huge advantage. The double dock has production advantage, has a town centre advantage. Alundra is just now getting his second town centre 12 minutes into the game, so the early aggression for him hasn't really paid off, because the Hoover is well ahead, is really established in his age 2, is in a perfect position to actually take age 3 from here and continue remaxing behind this. Just needs a little bit more food, but otherwise his economy is rock solid, actually expanding onto the 3rd and 4th lake, so he's in a great position right now, and it seems as though Alundra doesn't actually have enough on the front line to actually defend against this. So it seems as though everything has gone the Hoover's way this inland game. He's had a perfect opening, perfect snipe of the dock, and macroed up just a little bit smoother behind this, played the more greedy, the smarter strategy, and it's really paid a dividend. He's even looking at taking that 5th lake now, so the Hoover wants all the water to himself and is able to max out, get ready for his age 3 with all of his age 2 upgrades. This is a wonderful spot for him to be in, even taking a 13-minute loom, just in case Alundra manages to just raid everywhere on the map. But Alundra is keeping his lancers at home, because he knows if he rallies them out, the Hoover is just going to march straight into his base and have that many units of an advantage. It's not going to matter. The game is going to pretty much be in some one. Alundra trying to get out as much food as he can, because he wants to maintain the spear and the lancer production. Probably could even try and fit out the bowman as well. He does have the resources to do so, so he could really do with some more units in the mix here. Even some slingers to deal with the bowman from the Hoover. But yeah, I think he's really feeling the pressure now. The Hoover is just macroing up all over the map, even getting these distant berries over in the corner, just in case his opponent wants to go there later on. Just in case it goes on that long. He doesn't have that opportunity, but it seems as though Alundra isn't going to be able to defend against this push. The Hoover has the faster upgrades, so he's dealing that much more damage, and he just has So many units, all these Sparrow, 17 Sparrow to defend, his 25 bowmen, and together their population is about 80% of Alundra's right now, so Alundra down to 45 population, queuing up units left, right and centre, but he's down to 27 villages to Hoover's 73. He's well and truly behind right now, only on the one garden I think. And these Asabara with all their upgrades, GG. Alundra taps out for game 1. It was well fought from him, but I think things just really started to snowball because he tried to go for the more aggressive strategy. It didn't pay off. I don't think he necessarily macroed as well behind his strategy as the Hoover did, and yeah, things just really slipped against him in Age 2 there, when his opponent had the double dock, had the second town center, and was just able to crank out that much more production for his eco, convert that into, you know, resources to actually get an army out in the field, and Alundra really caught behind on population there, get the villagers trained. He did a good job at trying to keep his village count on top of his opponent there, but yeah, like I said, once the dock got sniped, once he fell behind the water and the town center count at the same time, and dramatically so because he actually lost his dock as well, yeah, things just really went against him there. Not able to gather as much for Hoover, able to actually gather another 8,000 resources, and yeah, crank out more villages, more technologies, and take some pretty decisive fights behind that. So guys, we'll take this to game number 2, which was mountain crossing. Alright, what's going on? So, game number 2, gonna be a mountain crossing today. Oh, it looks as though Alondra's going to change Civ, so he's going to delight us in seeing him actually play something other than Babylonian, considering he played the entirety of the Finbar's Finest tournament as Babs, won every single game, so big props to him. And yeah guys, I'll just be a sec. Oh, what have I done here? Just move something. Oh no, never mind. Just moving things in my OBS. Just be a quick sec. Gonna go for a drink and get Alundra, and we'll get this game underway. Alright, it actually looks as though both of them have civ swapped. So we've got Mountain Crossing. Oops, I've actually got to do the scores here, haven't I? I'll stop being lazy and I'll get that sorted too. So we've got Mountain Crossing, we've got Egypt. Oh, I've just moved something. Give me 1 second. We've got Egypt from the Hoover and Persia from Alondra. Bit of an interesting one, eh? Why do these always end up crooked? I never understand. Okay. So we'll start. Fingers crossed. Not gonna have a connection issue. I don't think we will. Been pretty lucky lately. We've got pretty good connection between the three of us, so I don't know how. We're all continents apart, so it doesn't make sense, but it works. Maybe because we've got forwarded ports. So guys, this is an advertisement to forwarding your ports, so just make sure if you want to play PvP, you got to forward ports 1000 to 1005 UDP in your router, as well as possibly in your firewall if that's still a problem. So spawning here today on Mountain Crossing, the best map ever made, might possibly never be surpassed, with these cheesy as lakes. We've got the Hoover as Egypt today. So see if we see him play occasionally, but not super often. And he's going to go for the dock first, and he's up against Alondra, who's on Persia, which is really interesting because so far Alundra has really only played something other than Babylonian in Arena and in occasional Sparta recently. He's otherwise been known as a Babylonian main, and a really solid one at that, but one that relies on the aggression that you saw last game that might not necessarily work against stronger players on the ladder, without adapting the strategy to be a bit more macro intensive on the big maps, or deal with opponents that can defend against the aggression and can turn things around, and yeah, macro up really strongly behind it. So for Hoover, opening up, yeah, with the storehouse dock opening, really nice opening here from him. He's just gonna need to get a little bit more wood. I think he probably pushed out the dock probably a bit too early there, but it doesn't necessarily matter. He's taking it now, so he's gonna get the fishing ship soon. Alundra, in the meanwhile, has the barracks on the way. Hasn't committed to his water just yet. Seems as though both players have plenty of opportunity to proxy dock one another here, considering how open this actually is. There's both room there outside the TC range and a completely sheltered section here on Alundra's side, and on the Hoover's side, I don't know about a gap over there. It's possible, but I don't think so. It's just deceptive based on the camera. Over this side, you've definitely got a spot though. And yeah, I mean, if the dock wasn't there, you'd actually would have an opportunity to push the villager through, down through there. But obviously, the Hoover has taken that. Got this other little lake here. So this one actually has 5 schools of fish rather than 3. So you've actually got an extra 2,000 food there. So it's common to see players, particularly the Hoover, he's known for opening with the middle dock. But in saying that, I think he might look to be preparing to take both docks, or to take a stables town centre and then take both docks. But Alondra going in for the early harass. Hasn't really got a huge amount of value, but Hoover has left a villager behind here. Gonna save it in time though. This is going to mean Hoover is going to have to get food elsewhere. He's only got 3 fishing ships here on the lake, so that's going to mean he's going to be able to get H2 and the villagers, but he ideally want to get something from the berries or from another hunt elsewhere on the map, just to get enough food to continue the production and be ready to get the double villager production in H2 as he gets the H2 town centre, because he's going to have all the resources to be able to do so with the town centre. And he's, yeah, good scout positioning here, trying to slow down the Sparrow harass, but it's enough of them to really force a villager pullback here. And these guys are going to have to get out soon. They can possibly try and get here and get defended from the fishing boats, but again, the Hoover not gathering food from anywhere else, so if they stop working, then he's going to have to gather from elsewhere. He is going to try and take on the berry bushes now, but this low villager is going to have to get microed out. So really good micro there from the Hoover, picking up on that, cancelling the bush, the storehouse on the berry bush now, and the scout has plenty of health here. The Hoover doing a good job at healing it up through all this. getting the resources to get... Oh, he's going to get a barracks. Instead of committing to his age 2 just yet, he doesn't necessarily need to get the temple just yet because he can get it now. He still has the wood. Still gathering a little bit of wood from somewhere. Oh, I suppose from some of the villagers. And he's just letting Alundra chase him around his base right now. As long as he continues his production as much as possible. He doesn't have the villager in queue at the moment, but if he can get one in queue, keep villager production up behind all this and just slow down Alundra's damage, he can get through all this because Alundra is behind economically right now. The Hoover is actually gathering up a lot more, has the dock already, so he's got the 3 fishing ship advantage. He's actually gathering probably nearly as much as Alundra, even with all of his villagers running around like that. Although his villager production is going to be slow because he's got the Priestess off the town center. Is trying to get the the wood to be able to throw up the Templar Ra, and he's not actually building any Spearmen yet. He wants to get the Templar Ra first, just so he can go straight on the Axman and hard counter the Sparrow. So it's a good idea, but he needs to minimize how much he loses in this position. Alundra, in the meanwhile, taken H2 already, so it's a really good decision by him, and he's spending really well behind this actually. He's got handsaw, he's got pickaxe on the way. So this little clump of Sparrow take forever to actually die under the town center fire. They've got 40% pierce armor, so they're actually the tankiest under town center fire of the Age 1 units. But they don't deal a lot of damage, so yeah, they really work to slow down your opponent. They don't kill things terribly quickly, but they can really resist fire for a long time. Force your opponent to have the micro, play the long game. Here come the Axman though, so Alundra better be ready for this. He needs to get the stables up, or the range up. He's got a range on the way. The Hoover has a dock on the second dock down though, so I didn't see that go down, but that's really smart play from him, having knocked that down. Oh, actually I saw the villager head down. The scout would have seen it, so Alundra should know about that. But right now he's got his stuff all spread out around his opponent's base. The Hoover has the stone he needs. He's got 500 stone once again. So Alundra's sort of wasting his time by chipping away at that. Oops, sorry. But now he's taking out the houses, so this is where he's going to get a little bit more value, because the Hoover, again, does need to get the houses, does need to get a town center up. So if he can chip away at the houses, it's going to be more value for him. He needs to try and focus down the Axman with a good amount of Sparrow to actually not lose them. So the Hoover scrambling to try and get the resources he needs, but his wood income's really quite slow here. Alundra is catching up on the, well, has caught up with that dock, but he's only got the 1 fishing ship out of it. So Hoover hasn't taken net lures for yet though, and Alundra is going to get bowmen on the way. So the Hoover only on 25 villages to Alundra's 30, but he does have that double dock advantage right now, losing another Sparrow to town center fire. But he's going to get a couple of villages for his troubles. There is an Axman in the mix there though. Oh, that bowman rallied under town center fire. So having these bowmen under town center fire of the Hoovers is not great for Alundra, because he's only going to get a couple of shots out per bowman that don't have a huge health pool. And the Hoover actually getting healing ointment at this stage, just so his scouts got enough damage to tank Axman, so that they're not focusing. Oh, actually, sorry, the Hoover's getting healing ointment. Where's the Hoover's scout? Where is the Hoover's scout? I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's up there on the top side, sorry. I was going to go, Alundra's had the scout actually attacking the Axman there, while he was trying to take other fights on the villagers, so he's going to get more villager kills here. The Hoover down to 22 villagers to Alundra's 23, so the aggression here from Alundra is really paying off so far. He's got a lot of value out of it. He's really slowed down the Hoover, who hasn't managed to get the second town center out just yet. There is an Asabara in the mix here from Alundra too, so he's gone for a nice 1-1-1 comp behind this. Just needs to be careful of his bowman under the town center fire of the Hoover, but the Hoover chipping away at that Asabara. Once it falls, he's going to be able to go on the Sparrows again, but the Hoover's going to need to get, yeah, the stables out. Probably going to need to get another barracks out, because he's ideally going to want to need to get both Axman and Slingers in this composition here, because Alundra has all 3 of those units. So they've both got a nice spread of units, and Alundra just needs to switch back to the Spearmen ultimately, if there are a huge number of camels from the Egyptian player. So the town centre is going to go up from Hoover, but he is down to 20 villages versus Alundra's 35. Alundra only on 1 town centre though, so Hoover can catch up. Alundra needs to get a bit more stone here, but he is going to be able to pick the... Oh, Hoover is going to be able to save the Priestess. No! So Hoover's losing the Priestess there. She's already done a huge amount of work, but she's fallen now, and Hoover has a very unequal economy right now because he's got plenty of food in the bank. I don't think he's gathering with anything but the fishing ships, but they just gather at such a rate, but he's not on any gold mine because, oh, there's a bowman down here chipping away at this, but he'll be picking off the villagers too. But Alundra splitting his units up, harassing around Hoover's base, just taking a very chaotic game, so he's making it very hard for his opponent to concentrate on anything anywhere because there is, yeah, that bowman down there being picked off by the town centre now. It was right on the edge, so all the Hoover had to do was click on it in the end. Now there's camels in the mix, so they can tidy up the Asabara, they can get on the bowman quite quickly. But Alundra has a big population advantage over Hoover right now. It's been a very, very good game from the get-go. It's been very aggressive from Alundra. He's just been parade pushing most of the game. And Hoover having to try and defend with all of his might right now. He's only on 40 population still, so that's Alundra's village account. Sparrow champ finishing up now, so he's going to have really tanky Sparrow. Going to have a little bit more damage too. He's going to be able to pick off villagers, fight against the Axman and Spearmen that little bit better. Another stable's coming up from Hoover, but he probably needs, yeah, he probably needs to get some slingers in the mix to deal with these bowmen. Probably needs to get some more Axman in the mix to deal with the Sparrow champion. And Alundra is continuing the push, keeping his opponent at 40 population, up to 68 himself. He's going to get another fishing ship, so he's saturating his water better. Hoover going to try and saturate this bottom pond, but Alundra continuing the pressure in his opponent's base right now. Hoover has lost a lot, but Alundra is going to rally back out right now. But right now, 65 to 45 population, things are looking tough for Hoover. Alundra has a lot of gold in the bank, just needs to equalize his economy, get a bit more food or a bit more wood and actually spend up that gold. Because he does have 13 gold gatherers to only 7 food gatherers. And doesn't have the fishing income that Hoover does for sure. He can probably look at sniping this though. I think he is going to do that, so Hoover going to be right down to that last pond there at the back of his base. I mean, that last school of fish in that pond at the back of his base, and he's potentially going to lose all of this, I think, because he's just trying to max out back at home, but he's only on 60 pop to 74 of his opponents, and Alundra has a fairly one-sided economy at the moment. He really needs to gather more food to get units out, but he's going to be able to snipe this, I think. The bowmen, or at least they're going to slow down the fishing boats, and there should be enough to actually take this out, I think. So the dock is going to fall there, so Hoover oh, there's a market there from Alundra too, so he's actually getting some caravans out. So Alundra, even though he's quite late on the H2 town centre, up to 48 villages, and has this caravan production, whereas Hoover forced to try and get back on the lake on the other side, over his opponent's side of the map, and he's going to run out. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, sorry, I was just sort of looking at this. It's sort of a weird wood line, really. It's a bit interesting, really. Runs all the way around. Well, I just want to have a look. Anyway, yeah, Alundra, really good macro position right now. He's actually forced his opponent to have to reposition that in a more dangerous spot. Is still ahead in score. 92 population to Hoover's 78, but Hoover is in a good position to catch up because he does have as many production facilities. I think he might even be adding more. Adding in the armory. Alondra already has the armory on the way though, so he has got an upgrade advantage, but there are some camels in the mix trying to cause a bit of damage. There isn't really enough of them to wipe out the Asabara that are here though. So we've got 2 stables, we've got a range, and 3 barracks here. And it looks as though Hoover getting a watch post, so this is going to be handy for him because Alondra can't see this, but Hoover's going to see all these villages here ripe for the taking. He's going to know about that this isn't really that well defended, so Alundra going to wall up the top side though, so this is quite smart, going to keep those caravans defended. And oh, Alundra going to try and dive in with the camels, but I mean dive in with the Asabara, but he's running into a whole bunch of camels, and there is a whole bunch of infantry slowing this down though, so he can look at trying to reposition this to take a more, raid oriented fight here. It's just trying to run into the town centers like that was probably never going to work unless his opponent's actually attacking him, so he's going to lose a couple of Asabara for free here, I think. The Hoover going to be able to stabilize. He's starting to really catch up on score now, adding yet another stable, so he's up to 3 stables himself, up to 2 barracks himself. Alundra probably just needs to keep his army together and try and push with everything, but now that Hoover's got a good number of camels, he can actually put the pressure on, and like I said, this good watch post is going to mean that he's scouted these villages and he's going to be able to come in through this side where Alundra hasn't actually walled. Alundra taking age 3 now, getting trade routes, which is the wrong upgrades. He needs price adjusting. He doesn't need trade routes. Trade routes is like when you're giving stuff to your ally. Alundra, what are you doing? And this is going to be a bad fight for Alundra. Actually, Hoover's running. I don't know why I suppose the count is in favour of Hoover, but when he saw that first bunch, Hoover actually had less. Oh, he had as many, and he has the counter unit in that situation. And saying that Hoover is waiting on his armor upgrade, his first one, and it's quite a good upgrade for Egypt. It's actually more expensive than the regular upgrades, the Egypt armor upgrade, but it's actually a combined one, so it works out to be more cost effective overall. And obviously if you train it out of the one armory, you basically get 2 upgrades in one that costs an extra third, I think. No, an extra half. And right now, big fight going down though, and Alundra with a small population advantage and still a bit of a small score lead here. I think he might still have an upgrade advantage. And Hoover has a tiny number of camels situated up there at the top, but Alundra just has that many units right now. As a Templar said being rushed out, so Hoover wants to take age 3, but Alundra already has it. And is going to finish his Asabara champion here, so they're going to be that little bit tankier. Huge number of camels coming in from the back now, so this is what Hoover was waiting for. They were a little bit late though, and they haven't got champion themselves. There are Spearmen champion in the mix here too, so Alundra is prepared to really ward them off because, Hoover perhaps a little bit late with them. There are even some mounted archers in the mix here, so until there's Camel Rider champion, until there's a good number of chariots, and let's just scout, there's not even a chariot here. It's going to look scary for Hoover taking fights into this. Alundra just needs to equalize his economy here, but in saying that, Hoover also a little bit low on gold, but otherwise has some good economy room here to actually spend up here. Just needs to get a little bit more gold. Going to try and take a town center up here. Probably going to look at taking a market down here. Needs to get on another gold mine, like I said, because he's only on this one right now. And Alundra walling up on this bottom side of the map, so that's pretty smart from him. Hoover might look at trying to apply pressure while that's going up though, because he can see it all going up. Good number of spears here from Alundra. Just needs to be careful to not throw them all away, but the rest of the army is too far back. But Alundra probably could look at taking that fight. He does have a small population advantage, and if he can push the Hoover off this gold mine, the Hoover can't actually gather anything, so Hoover just now going to take that second gold mine. Alundra, really nice defensive position with his base all walled off right now. Streaming through units. Hoover going to look at gathering the stone from down there, so I think he's going to look at trying to throw a fort down here to cut Alundra off eventually, but is he going to be able to get there? Alundra is going to try and snipe this barracks, but while he's doing that, there's units going in from this side, and they're fighting the whole of the Hoover's army, so he needs to be careful to not throw them away. He's managed to kite them back really well though, so he sniped the stables as well. The camel riders don't have champion yet, and the ranged all stack up on top of one another with the spears coming around as well, so the camel's forced to reposition, but yeah, Alondra up to 150 population for Hoover, on 125 still, so things are still looking good for Alondra at this stage. And Alondra, yeah, taking some upgrades behind this Bowman Champion MQ, Iron Smelting, the age 3 damage for melee units on the way. Has a good number of spears. There is some Axman on the way, but I don't think they're champion yet for Hoover. And again, there's no champion on the camel riders. There's a good number of mounted archers, so I think this Priestess is going to go down, so no more healing in the middle of this. Alundra 130 population for Hoover, only on 95 at the moment. So I think we might be going to game 3 here, unless Hoover can work the magic around the map here, get a fortress out or get some siege units out, but he just might not have enough. Alundra 71 villages for Hoover, only on 62, so he's done a reasonable job of catching up behind all this, but he just has so little of an army. There is some chariot archers in the mix, but there's a good number of mounted archers, some bowmen. Templar set being chipped away at, but that's pretty inconsequential. Needs to get some villager kills here, Alundra, but if he can do that, Hoover's going to be in a terrible spot, because Hoover is gathering up well behind this, but doesn't have a villager lead by any means. Down by about 15 villagers now. Down in total population count as well, so there's not as much army out, so this is Alundra's chance here to get some good villager kills. Chainmail finishing up now too. And some camels coming in. No champion upgrades still from Hoover on these camels, so they're not going to be that good against the bowmen. Not going to be very good against the mounted archers at all. They don't have a counter against the ranged units. And the chariot archers for Hoover able to put in the work though. Pretty well protected behind all the other units, and there are some slingers in the mix, so Alundra is going to have to ship back onto a melee oriented composition again. Maybe get some immortals too. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of spears in queue. And he's still up. Oh, they're even in population, so Alundra has been forced off this gold mine here actually as well. Bit cheesy from Alundra there, bit expansive. And Hoover is going to eventually run out of fish here on this lake. Probably 1,000 fish in total there. One school's worth left remaining there on the lake. Villager counts, you're looking at 75, 63. So the Alundra now has a smaller army composition. I don't know why he's pushing right now, because he hasn't actually maxed out. He's got plenty of resources, but he's throwing away this army, and he is down on population. So he's giving Hoover the space to actually take a fight with a much bigger army again behind this. He needs to be careful to not throw everything away here, because it's not a good composition to take that fight. He's getting a whole bunch of mounted archers in Asabara, but he needs to get more stables to be able to get them all out. Got 3 armories, but hasn't got all of his upgrades either. He needs to get barbed arrows on the way for sure, because if he's got mounted archers in the mix, he really is going to want bonus damage on them. Especially with these chariots in the mix. Plenty of damage from them and not a lot of health, so as soon as you can whittle them down, the better. So, I don't know if they can actually fit through there. That's weird. Okay. I think they can fit through that gap there. Oh yeah, here, they can fit through that gap there. But they're still going to hit that wall there. Alundra are going to look at trying to take that stone, but Hoover is going to be able to work away at this gate. Although he hasn't actually clicked on it, so he's got the units just sitting there. He's going to need to focus the gate down. Alundra looking to try and take the gold from over there, but he's going to be running villagers through this little pocket here. And they're going to be able to be caught by the camels. Alundra down on down on population overall, so he hasn't maxed out in this time. He's going to try and take age 4 instead. I'm not sure if that's the best choice now, because Hoover is actually maxed out. And this market is going to fall. There is camel champion now. So the Asabara champion, the mounted archer champion, even both of them. If there's enough camels, they will just outright win that fight. And there is chariot archers, slingers, more camels, Axman champion in the mix here. So the Egyptian player maxed out in age 3. Alundra hitting age 4, but he hasn't really maxed out in his age 3 army yet. Had some really good pushing there, but I think the Hoover's really closed the gap here, pulling ahead in score now for the first time in the game. And he's really got a fairly even bank compared to his opponent. An awful lot of stone though, which is a bit interesting. But for Hoover, plenty of age 3 upgrades in queue, plenty of units in queue, 170 population versus 130, and things are looking really good for the Hoover now. Alundra struggling with the macro there, struggling with the transition replay, and I think the Hoover really taking a good fight here, still ahead by about 30 population. So the Chariot's going to take a good fight against the Mounted Archers, but the Takabara are going to be, they do alright against the Chariot Archers, but there's just not enough of them. But right now the Hoover doesn't have any melee, so it's going to be quite a slow race to get those walls down. In the meantime, Alundra needs to wall up this top side, needs to get his market line re-established. He's gathering all the gold from up here though, so he's going to put pressure on the Hoover, trying to get resources around the map, because he's going to have to expand up here later on. So all these villagers getting this makes it deplete really quickly. He's got 20 villagers on that one gold mine, and he's going to go for that one next. So the Hoover going to be forced back onto this one gold mine here and this one down here. Eventually they're going to be out of resources on this map. It's quite a large map, but it doesn't have a huge amount of gold on it, or a huge amount of stone. Oh, it has a reasonable amount of stone actually. But oh, the Hoover's found a bit of a gap in the wall there, busted his way through, got a couple of villager kills, and I think he's going to just pull out here. Alundra now behind on villagers, only on 75 villagers to the Hoover's 84, so the Hoover getting the rest of his age 3 upgrades, and I think he's going to look at trying to make a bit of a decisive push here. I don't think he knows about everything going on up there, but if he does, he's going to be able to pick out a lot of villagers, so the Hoover is going to probably see that, because he's run the camel past it, going to try and chip away at that gate, and chip away at this one here on the front of Alundra's base, and Alundra just maxing out now, 175 population, hasn't even got that age 4 town center yet, so even though he's taken age 4, he hasn't got a huge amount of value out of it. No Mounted Archer champion, no age 4 town center, no age 4 upgrade, so it hasn't really been much except a bit of a big dump of 3,500 resources, which he could be using right now to remax behind this fight, because the Hoover does have a really nice composition right now, is pushing in multiple sides of his opponent, so actually he's going to run the camels back down here to try and back himself up. So right now the Hoover up by about 25 population to Alundra, which is really big, and Alundra running out on that gold mine. So I wonder if he's going to notice that he's got all these idle villagers, because they won't just auto task to go to the next gold mine. The Hoover right now, big score lead, big population lead, 78 villagers from Alundra to 84 from the Hoover, and GG is called. I was going to say 20 villagers from Alundra are idle, and yeah, I thought Alundra might have had that for a lot of the game. Holy, what a game, guys. Man, that was a really nice back and forth of the game there. A couple of really nice fights. Some really good defending from the Hoover. Really nice aggression from Alundra. Good stuff, guys. Pat yourselves on the back for that one, but unfortunately, we don't get to go to game number 3 for that series. But yeah, man, oh, that game, far out. I need a smoke break after that game for sure. Oh, that was something else, man. Alundra, you need to pat yourself on the back, man, because you've come here from out of nowhere and you've really rocked the scene, to be honest. Like, you know, he still had Alundra lost the water. I mean, sorry, Alundra was behind on the water, won on the total resources gathered, and lost the game. Like, man, that's honestly something you don't see much of, but well played, man. And GG to the Hoover, because that defense was exceptional. There were a couple of times where I thought, wow, the Hoover is so far behind he can't pull himself out of this, and then he'd take, you know, a bit of a skirmish over about 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, man, he's pretty much on even footing, despite all the aggression, despite all the worker losses, just because he's got the double docks, he's got the town center fire, he's taking, you know, when it's unit v unit going on, Hoover was taking a lot better choices there, I think, but then when Alundra was killing the workers, it's what was really evening things up in a sense there, and yeah, just, that was a hell of a game, guys. So we're going to go to game number 2 in a second, and I'm over the moon about that one. That was a good game, guys. What a way to end the series. But yeah, I'm going to go for a smoke break. We're going to get series number 2 on the way. And Alundra is going to back this up by wanting to give a chance, said Hoover. I don't know. I don't know if he was just... I don't know if he means that he was going easy on Alundra, more that he was trying to open with the greedy strategy and just see how well he could hold against Alundra's aggression, and he did. He, you know, pat on the back there, he really knuckled down and defended well against Alundra's aggression. Good unit composition choices there from him. Alundra, good aggression there. Probably could have made a little bit better unit comp choices and a little bit better macro, but otherwise, yeah, really nice aggression. Some good micro there from both players too, and GG, well played. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute or 2, and we're going to get Alundra versus FF and Easy on the way. And yeah, guys, hopefully that'll be exciting as that last game was.
Ahura Master bless you. Ahura Master bless you.
Alright guys, we're back on now, and oops, we'll just see if we're ready to play. Oh cool, we'll start now. So we've got Alundra backing up from his previous 2 games to face FF and EZ. And we're back on inland, so you saw this in game number 1 last series. We got Babylon, so Alundra's pulled out his main civ versus FF and EZ's Celt. I believe that's also his main. Just waiting on FF to finish loading in. There we go. So player number 1 today, and we're on a 4 pond inland compared to a 5 from last game. We've got FF and EZ as his Celt, going straight on the wood, looking for his hunt, and we got Alundra as the Babylonian player, the red player, top side of the map. So he's opting for the Babylonian for game number 1 again. I wonder if he'll swap to Persia for game number 2 and treat us to that. Looking for another hunt and potentially another lake here. So he's gonna find another berries. Another stone mine. But he found one up there, so perhaps not what he's looking for. There we go, so he finds a pond. And FF and EZ straight on the barracks right now. And on to another hunt. Streams all looking good? Yeah, all looking good. Cool. Alright. Just wanted to check something there. So the barracks finishing up here for Alundra. A little bit faster than FF and EZ's barracks actually. So I've got these really high cost Babylonian spears versus these lower cost Celt spears, which train a little bit faster, move a little bit faster, deal a bit more damage, but have a fair bit less health. Actually, I think 11 seconds versus 12, yeah, it is 1 second quicker. And a lovely little skewer spearman with the burger helmet. The spearmen pass one another. Alundra going straight onto FF and EZ's hunt, but FF and EZ obviously going to try and do the same, but being repelled back there. I mean, Alundra being repelled back here. And FF and EZ not catching this one, so having to get back off that hunt. Alundra chipping away at another villager. Losing his spear up here. A little bit of a chaotic start here. FF and EZ forced off his hunt again. Onto his berries. But he is going to get this this spearman by the look of it. FF and EZ has a good number of spears though, but so does Alondra back at home. Villager counts got 12 for FF and EZ to 14 for Alundra, so I think that's largely the ox count difference. Alundra actually going to chip away. That little spear here has a slight score lead over his opponent, has a population advantage of 1. New villager and a spear back in queue now. FF and Easy. A little bit slow on the villager production there. Could get one out right now, but yeah, just a tad slow on it. Just taking a fight right now, but yeah, missing out on a bit of production behind all this. And it looks as though Alundra is going to be able to take this because he does have those, just those tankier, higher value spearmen. 100 health advantage over the Celt spears. 1 less damage. And yeah, they cost 20 more resources. So if he does focus fire here, he can probably clean this up. Just needs to micro that other tanky spear out, but alas. But he is getting some more of his own spears now. So I think there was a bit of a delay in his production of spears there. FF and Easy now 4 population behind actually. No villagers coming out at the moment, and he is going to have to take another hunt quite quickly. He's got 10 villagers on the one hunt rather than having them split up across a couple of hunts or looking at trying to take a dock at... Oh, here we go. He's taking a dock at this point, which is a good sign. Getting his H2 on the way, so Alundra does have the spear advantage, does certainly have a population advantage right now. Getting his H2 that little bit faster as well, but he's not going to be on the water as quickly as FF and Easy. Alundra has these idle villagers here, so that's not good. That's slowing down his eco. He's got 21 to 16 villagers, has 3 ox carts. So, does actually have a villager advantage, but with those idle villagers, it's inconsequential. It doesn't mean anything. So, FF and Easy defending with all his might here. Does have the unit counts, I think, to hold out from this. I'm not sure what Alundra is intending to do here. Maybe fish from this pond. So this will be interesting because you can see his opponent over there. And he is going to have to try and find another hunt here on the map. And he hasn't been lucky enough to find one down here. I think they're all going to be more situated around here. There is one over here that he is wandering straight past. So all these idle villagers. So that's not good for Alundra. He's got no food income at the moment. So he's producing no villagers. And he's really throwing away that little lead he had over FF and Easy at the moment. He is getting the dock on the way now, but again, he's still looking for something to gather with these villagers when really he needs to just get on the berries and send his scout or send a spearman to go looking because he can't stop his production like this. Right now, FF and Easy is actually really catching up, continuing to produce villagers, only down by a population now, has the longswordsman in the mix, so the bowmen are going to be a little bit slow here, and yeah, again, there's a couple less spears than they could have been. The bowman is going to be out though in time. FF and Easy is going to have to push back and regroup. Going to have to get his slingers. Getting an archery range on the way now. Hasn't taken any stone just yet, so both players playing very aggressively. No stone at all. FF and Easy on the lake with the 2 fishing boats, not 3 just yet, so only committing to the 2. There'll be another pond. Oh no, he's built right over the top of it, I think. Yeah, he has. He's built directly on top of it. So he might not be able to actually fish that one. I'm not too sure. This nice little run by might catch something. Alundra has taken the dock now. Only has the 1 fishing boat on it at this point in time. And both players actually population capped at 35 pop. Struggling to get out another house. Only have 1 villager in versus 1 fishing ship in production. So here we are, back up to 40. And boy, it's a little bit laggy, this one. But Alundra is going to have all these villagers in a tough spot here. There's a good number of infantry there. And all of his units over the other side of his base, so these guys are going to have to back off. There is a garden being thrown down here, and that's a bad spot for it in a sense because it's going to be quite easy for FF and Easy to snipe this. And Alundra forced back there. Might even lose this house right now or a couple of villagers for a shovel. Oh, is here to clean up. So you're going to be able to pick off all these infantry. But FF and Easy has dealt a little bit of damage, has a nice bank. Needs to probably look at getting on the stone. Both players probably do at this point because it's 8 minutes in the game. Neither of them have any stone. Alundra throwing down some another garden over here. Probably could get it right here in the center and then just shuffle his ox cart over here if he wanted to. That's probably going to be the most optimal position. It stuffs him out of getting the town center positioning, but at the same time it means the garden is as well defended as can be, and the earlier you can throw it down, the more of an advantage it proves, because everything just builds 1% faster, and you just generate 1 more food per second per garden too, so it's always worth getting him and keeping him as early as you can. Alundra now on 51 population to FF and Easy is 50, so village counts 30 for FF, 29 for Alundra, so ox cart count too. FF and Easy does have a small village lead with that, and I think he does have, well, they've got an even number of ships, but FF and Easy is expanding onto a second lake, so that's good for him. Good number of units here from FF and Easy, and they're taking a good angle around the back of Alundra's base while all of his units are parked at the front side, and so another garden is going to be really threatened here, and the houses as well, so if these get interrupted, Alundra might find it hard to actually continue producing the units that he needs to defend. So a couple of the bowmen being taken out by the slingers. Good shot there from FF and Easy, but he might need to stop again just to trade fire, but he does have a slightly smaller unit count here, I think. Just because he's got a lot of units here back at home as well. Quite a big map, but yeah, there's a lot of terrain to get over, and you're not necessarily going to have the easiest time expanding up the mid-map, because if the other player manages to get on the water, they can get a lot of warships to really deny movement through these passages, which are quite tight, or get high ground towers or things like that. So right now Alundra, a small population lead over his opponent. Just now the players have gotten the stone they need. So FF and Easy has the stone he needs to throw down the second town center. Still getting some more for his third, but hasn't thrown down the second one yet. Alundra just working towards his second town center's stone. And FF and Easy rallying back out of a fight when he probably should have just stopped to take it, because he's lost all these units now, and Alundra is going to look at chasing him all the way back to wherever he leads him to. Age 3 kicking in for the Celt player, so maybe he can get some words out, maybe he can get some horsemen out in time, because he really needs horsemen to deal with lances, not Celt spears, because even though spears are designed to counter cavalry, lances are designed to counter infantry, so against the cheapest, most disposable spearmen, or pre-champion upgrade that is, yeah, they're really worth working towards the cavalry option for the Celt player. So FF and Easy walking his slingers all the way on top of his opponent's bowman here, and he has these fishing ships here, not only repairing that, but also now coming to harass the bowman, which is good. But there's a lot of lances here for Alundra too, and a couple of shield bearers in the mix. So Alundra may be able to take this dock out at this point. He's chasing FF and Easy all the way back into his base and expanding out onto a second lake of his own. So going to be able to snipe this one off his opponent. So FF and Easy is going to be forced back to 1. And that dock, yeah, is going to fall. Alundra now up by about 30 population over FF and Easy. He's getting Spearmen champion now, but again, without it, his spears are so disposable, and with it, well, you know, it's late now, and he might as well have just, because he's worked towards age 3, he might as well have just got as many horsemen as he could, saved his barracks for getting woad raiders, getting long swordsmen, so he can deal with the rest of the Babylonian composition. He's now having to get defensive towers, so Alundra, the bearers are now actually worth quite a bit more value, because they've got that much armor. They've got 70% armor against the range damage. There's only slingers and towers here to defend against them, so really if Alundra gets some more shield bearers along with this, he's actually got something to tank all these towers, although it does leave him a little bit vulnerable to the horsemen. because he's gonna need to get mounted archers himself to clean them up once they start coming out. But it looks as though FF and Easy is continuing to just produce barracks and range units, and it's not paying a dividend at this point because he's going to get forced back off a lot of stuff here. And if he can destroy this tower before it goes up, then he may be able to keep this up. But these villagers are back out of the town centre, going to be able to finish this one off. So FF and Easy, some good micro there, getting the villagers in and out of the tower. Oh, actually saving them again. A lot of units are going to fall down here for FF and Easy, and he's all the way down to 43 population compared to Alundra's of 88. So Alundra 47 villager pop to 36 from FF and Easy. Not much of an army here from the Kel player at the moment. And Alundra going to work down one of these towers, getting a whole bunch of lancers in production, but he probably could do with some more production facilities at this point. A bit more food gathering too. And FF and Easy at the same time, desperately trying to get the gold from there, but he has the opportunity to get gold from down here if he can get there, but he needs to funnel villagers around without Alundra noticing, because they're not going to be able to get on that gold mine for much longer. Right now those three towers doing what work they can, but there's shield bearers in the mix, the lancers standing underneath the towers. It's not a huge amount of value to be gotten with the towers. And right now FF and Easy still only on 45 population, Alundra at about 85 still. Gonna get some more villager kills here, I think. But there are horsemen coming out now. FF and Easy can just afford them. Wow, this has been a really good push here from Alundra. He's just managing to keep streaming units across the map, but I think he's just got to readjust his economy, reshuffle his composition a bit, get some more units out. And he really needs to get something to do with the horsemen now that they're out, so he can get the mounted archers in the mix, get some more spearmen if he thinks he really needs. FF and Easy taking a gold mine over here, so Alundra, if he can be a bit more proactive with this scouting here, he can really deny opponents completely when they're this far behind. And FF and Easy in the meanwhile needs to be careful to keep that alive. Probably could do with taking one elsewhere around the map, just so that there's not so many villagers in one spot to get sniped. But in saying that, he's done well to defend against that. All those towers, they're only just able to hold off. But Alundra needs to get something to deal with the horsemen, although they are quite slow, so FF and Easy is not going to be able to get away with trying to just run past or raid. He's just tanking a lot of damage that he didn't need to. They're losing 2 horsemen for free actually, so Alundra again has a nice advantage over his opponent, about double the unit population too, so this is looking really good for him, even though he hasn't got the best of unit compositions for this far into the game. And he can snipe these houses too for FF and Easy and make life hell for him. There is a gold mine now over this, so the villagers are protected, but for how long? Because if Alundra focuses down the towers, then FF and Easy's got to spend more on them, more on houses. And it's just going to get harder and harder for him because he's just so far behind. Alundra only in age 2 still, but the gold mine is finished up actually, so FF and Easy just spent 175 resources just to protect his villagers, and probably only got about 200 or 300 gold out of that while it was on it, so he wouldn't have even got enough conservation to really pay back his investment. And there's enough units here to really take down these towers here, I think, so I think FF and Easy is going to have to GG in this one because he's throwing up yet another tower. Alundra getting more units across the map. He really needs to get some more production facilities out because he can really afford to keep streaming more units out than this at this point. But he's really managed to put FF and Easy on his back at the moment, I think, because there's no food, there's no wood for him, a small gold bank, and all the towers in his base are going down. There's not much of an army. Alundra slowly creeping up in terms of population. FF and Easy slowly creeping down in terms of population. Horsemen coming out to counter the lancers, but there's too many for it to really matter. And he's actually going to try and focus. He's not sure what he wants to focus here, but all the villagers scrambling to try and gather as much wood as they can just to produce some more slingers or anything. But FF and Easy isn't going to have enough for game number 1, I don't think. We should see a GG here. Another tower being thrown up. I don't know what the point of this is. Alundra streaming in more and more units, going to get even more villager kills now. FF and Easy just trying to get on the hunt now just to get enough food to produce villages, because he has no units left basically. There's only a single spearman falling down now and a handful of villagers trying to build some towers, and Alundra is streaming units across again up to 130 population. And I think this is... yeah, I think this is going to be game number 1, guys. One town center for FF and EZ at this far into the game. Alundra on 2. Got his age 3 now as well. FF and EZ, one town center, age 3 build. Getting a couple of eco techs, but I'm just not so sure about why he didn't take the second town center. And I'm going to call that one a GG. He's still... yeah, there we go. He's still active around the map there, but I don't know what he was looking for, like trying to see if he could send units somewhere or villages somewhere. GG, guys. So anyway, Alundra takes game number 1, so congrats to him. GG, well fought for both players. And crossing. Sorry, I'm Gorilla. I'm sorry. Alright, so yeah, Alundra taking game number 1. Gathering quite a bit more than FF and EZ in the end there, just because he had him under so much pressure for so long there. And yeah, he really just managed to snowball a bit of a lead, just push out and keep on pushing then. GG, well played to him. GG, well played to FF and EZ. And we're going to head back for game number 2, which is going to be our mountain crossing. See if these guys want a civ swap. Alright guys, so we're going to get game number 2 underway. We got FF and EZ versus Alundra on Mountain Crossing, and it looks as though Alundra swapping to Persia, FF and EZ staying with his Celt. So we'll get this one underway in just a minute. Alright, here we are. Mountain Crossing, FF and EZ spawning as player number 1, the Blute Kelp player today. And it's a fairly exposed lake here. And player number 2 today, the Persian Red player, with a not quite so open lake here. It's Alundra. Although you can actually sneak it, the villagers through there, I believe. You'd be able to fit one through there somewhere. Anyway, Alundra going for this hunt all the way up here actually. There's a deer trapped in amongst the berries, I think. Is it going to be able to get out? Yeah, never mind, the deer's free. Yeah, so I had a bit of a moment of suspense there because if it was sort of trapped in there, we would have probably had to restart that, but it's fine. Looks as though barracks coming up now for Alundra. FF and EZ already has his down, so he's actually been much more aggressive with that. Now getting a bit of stone now as well, and a bit of gold. I don't know why is distance gathering gold this early on. Gonna have to keep gathering more food, more wood, to keep actually spending on the spears, keep actually getting the houses, get onto the stone mine, get the town centre out. So I'm not quite sure why he's gonna need to distance gather the gold this early on. What are you doing, man? But he is getting the early spears out, so this is going to be helpful for him. Sparrow are going to finish up in time, and Alondra is going to be able to take hunting, aid tent, not hunting dogs, aid tent if he wishes, to help him defend. That deer just trying to body block there for Alundra. Alundra is going to have to do something about this. And rallying off is going to be tough because it's going to mean he's got 5 villagers doing nothing. He's going to have to get onto the berries. Getting on the Sparrow. And FF and EZ distance gathering the gold still, and the stone. Alundra coming in now with a couple of Sparrow. Gonna actually be able to clean this up. And probably go back on the hunt if he wishes. Neither player taking a dock just yet. Oops. And yeah, switching over from the berries back to the hunt, because even though he's taken the Picker's Gloves upgrade, the hunt is still a little bit faster. 1.3 food versus 1.08 with the Picker's Gloves upgrade on the berries, because the base is 0.9. FF and EZ has a bit of a population advantage now though, and Alundra still caught without any food in the bank. Can't produce any villagers without any food, can't produce any Sparrow without any food. So he's slipping behind on production already. Needs to get that dock out quickly, considering he's already got the wood for it. Probably could even look at taking this center lake dock, or proxy docking his opponent. So he's going to be able to delete that Spearman quite quickly, but at the same time there's a bunch of Spearmen heading into his base, so Alundra is going to need to have to head back or do something here. FF and EZ rallying perhaps a little bit too close into his opponent's base here, because he's going to have to back out again. There's not a lot of room to try and fit around here to the side. You've got to come all the way just through here or hope your opponent's just on the resource that spawns on this side. And FF and Easy has a lot of idlers there just forced back. Right now only one population ahead of Alundra and might lose this Spearman quite quickly here. The Spearman does fall. And these villages are going to have to garrison too. So Alundra again putting the pressure on, flipping the script on FF and Easy right now. He's going to have to take age 2, which is actually going to help the damage that his town centre puts out on these units. But even still, they're Sparrow, so they've got a nice 30% damage reduction, 40% damage reduction against that, I'm afraid. So he is going to force 14 of FF and Easy's villages back into the town centre. He's only gathering off 3 at the moment, so it's really rough for him. And there's a good number of Sparrow here. They are going to fall to the Spearmen, but not before dealing a lot of damage, and not before slowing down FF and Easy's economy quite substantially. Age 2s are going to finish up at pretty much the same time, and FF has a little bit less resources in the bank. Has all these units, all these villages just getting back into proper position for gathering. The dock a little bit faster for FF and Easy, so, I mean a little bit faster for Alundra, so he's going to get that fishing ship out nearly a whole cycle faster than FF and Easy at this point. Nearly about 18 to 20 seconds, so another couple of Spearmen falling down for FF, and Alundra is getting in a good position to be able to push, getting the range out. Pretty slow on the stone gathering, and it wasn't distance gathering during all the starting game there, so not behind on that fact either. So FF and Easy with a bit of an interesting opening there. I don't think it really paid off for him because he's only on 20 villages. Alundra on 19 as well, so hasn't had perfect production himself, but he did have that earlier fishing ship, and he seemed to deal a lot of damage to actually catch it back up from being put on the back foot originally from FF and Easy there. So bit of a slow opening from both players really. We're 6 minutes in and we've had a fight up here at the top, and we've had a fight over here in FF and Easy's base, so been a nice back and forth game already. Another fight going down, but I think there might be enough Sparrow here because there's only the 3 long swordsmen and a spear in the mix, so if you can focus down the long swordsman you can probably turn the trade, because there's a bowman here in the mix as well. Another one coming in too. So I think because the bowmen are here and such a good number 2, it's going to turn around. FF and Easy's going to have to back off, going to have to try and get a range of his own, but I don't think he has one. Oh, here we go, it's just about finished. But Alundra in a good spot. If you can get a better storehouse down there, try and arc it up towards this way. Another barracks coming out for the Kelp player. He's going to lose a villager here, but he's going to pick off a lot of these units here of the Persian, I think. Oh no, it's going to pretty much trade 1-to-1. Oh no, the slinger does get out there in the end. Really low scout there for FF, so he's locking up a population with all these low units. And there's not a third production facility yet for the for the Persian player. Alundra up by 2 population. Handsaw coming out for FF and Easy. Alundra already has it. Is getting pickaxe. FF and Easy got hunting dogs. Alundra got picker's gloves. So Alundra up by an ecotech overall. Just slightly ahead in terms of unit count at the moment. And he might even be able to chip away at these villages if he's lucky here. He's backing out just to get a bit more of a front line, because I think that's what he's worried about. FF and Easy on the other hand, doing reasonably well to defend and introducing a guard tower, which is not a bad idea, even though they're both taking forever to build their second town centre. At this stage, if he knows his opponent's doing the same, this might actually give him the value he needs to to be able to defend here, only as long as he's able to get it up in time, and he wants to go for one villager on it because it means he doesn't have to invest so much in it and keep gathering, but at the same time it's going to be so slow, and Alundra choosing to go in, so FF and Easy caught moving the slingers around quite an awful lot actually, and the bowmen microing back as well. Really nice fight here, and that perhaps there's enough bowmen to actually take this fight. Some really low slingers in that mix there. FF and Easy slightly ahead in terms of population, having to get the guard tower out. Alundra now has the stables in the mix. There's 2 barracks and another range on the way for the Celt player. And Alundra really needs to probably work on his food eco because he's only got 5 food gatherers. He's down to 33 food. FF and Easy in the meanwhile needs to probably work on his gold gathering, because he's got plenty of food, plenty of wood gatherers, and he's got plenty of food banked, but he doesn't have much gold, doesn't have many gatherers of it. Working counts, you're looking at 33 to FF to 32 to Alundra. Wheelbarrow being introduced now because FF is actually housed, down by 5 population too. There's some Asabara in the mix. Second town centre being started by Alundra at the moment, but these Asabara aren't being rallied onto the right target, because if they can take out all these slingers, then there's nothing left of the Celt army, because it's just a front line with no means of actually cleaning up the bowmen. So Alundra actually cleaning up the fight there in the end, responding just in time, and now he's up by 20 population. The Celt player needs to transition to spears, which he is doing. Celt, FF and Easy really needs to get the spears out for these Asabara, because the longswordsmen, they're great against the Sparrow, but they're pretty much useless against the Asabara, and vice versa. More towers coming up from FF and Easy, but the more he invests on this, the slower his economy is going to be. Putting up 1 or 2 at the absolute most is fine, but keep continuing to commit to it. It's going to deny these bowmen, but it's going to set him back so far economically, and it's going to encourage Alundra just to get more Sparrow, just to get more Asabara. And he just needs a handful of bowmen to clean up any infantry at the back of that. So Alundra repelled. FF and Easy only behind by 4 population, but he is down by 4 workers, so doesn't have the second town centre out. Neither player has taken the centre late. Alundra has a town centre over his opponent right now. FF and Easy looking to move out for the first time in this game, but yeah, as long as Alundra can continue to make units behind this, he may even be able to close this out 2-0 at this point. FF and Easy in the meanwhile does stand a fighting chance. He's managed to defend pretty well. It's interesting seeing him go for this many towers this early instead of taking that second town centre, especially because it offers that population benefit as well. This is a big force of units coming in right now. Alundra's forces aren't going to be able to defend this quite quickly, but FF and Easy is just going to march all the way in, try and take out the villager as well, but Alundra's going to have time to respond to this now. So everything's going to head back. Asabara being rallied off with the rest of the army. Oh no, maybe not. But that's not a huge force, so if it gets surrounded here, and because of the slingers it's not going to be terribly fast, it can just get destroyed, so it does get repelled now. Alundra evening up the population count, both on 71 at the moment, and he is getting some more production facilities down as well. Both players probably could be spending up a little bit better than this at the moment, because they do have enough gold to be able to do so. The sling is being chased all the way back to the base. The Asabara are going to die pretty fruitlessly, because there is a whole bunch of slingers still here left that they are going to need to clean up eventually. Alundra only slightly ahead in terms of army count, so he can still throw this one away, because FF and Easy has a menacing slinger count right there. And he is going to try and march them straight on top of the bowmen. So yeah, Alundra taking a pretty rough fight there, but I think he does have a small production lead at this point. So he is able to stabilize behind this. But he didn't end up finishing that wall up there. And FF and Easy, it looks as though he's got a bigger army. Yeah, so Alundra is up by 8 villages over FF and Easy, so FF and Easy for a lot of that actually did have an evenly sized, if not slightly bigger army. Single Sparrow in there just to try and harass some of these villages, but just now everything's being rallied back together. The Asabara going straight in on the army is not the best idea, but here they are going back in on the slingers now. So the faster that you can do that, the faster you can stop the Kelp player from denying all of his range pressure. But it looks as though, well, it's a bit hard to really tell really, because both players just stack up everything on top of one another. But FF and Easy does have a population disadvantage here, but Alundra doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank, so he can't produce units behind this for terribly long. He's up by about 18 population and does have a nicer composition overall, but he's throwing away the units. But there is these slingers just too far at the front line. There's no spears here to clean them up. Alundra taking the dock behind this, so this is very smart. I didn't see that at first. He's playing the more expansive game, so this is good. He's using the fact that he's been taking these bigger fights over and over again to, when ahead, get more ahead. So if you can keep sticking by the principle, that's good. He's got an upgrade there. He needs to get some more though. FF and Easy is taking an upgrade as well. The range damage, the ranged armor upgrade. He's also taken the health upgrade on his infantry. So FF and Easy only down by 3 population now, but Alundra, well, he really needs to get more gold. I think that's what he's looking to do. Why are you continuing to keep looking with these villages? Just get on the gold mine. Do it. What are you doing? Don't throw the game away now. There we go. He's doing it. FF and Easy using his whole army to clear this little hunt. Outpost going up, but I don't think it's going to be able to see the dock. Is it? No, it's not, so that's unfortunate. It's going to prevent raiding through there, but meantime, FF and Easy's attempted to move through this passage, but he's been caught by Alundra, who was waiting here the whole time with a good Asabara count too. And a lot of free shots were tanked by the Celt army initially, which we did miss a little bit of, and they were sort of staggered as well, so FF and Easy losing a lot of units, down by 22 population now. Things aren't looking great for him. Alundra doesn't want to throw things away, but he's not far off being able to push in because he's 30 pop ahead now. He's got the second town centre much faster than FF and Easy did. 48 villages to 62. Second lake being taken purely by Alundra, even though it's the dangerous spot. He's the only one there at least. These villages in a very tough spot. So all it takes is a single Asabara to head through there and clean all that up. And both the Asabara and there are a couple of Sparrow in the mix are going to be both very good at tanking the tower fire. So there's all these easily raidable targets Alundra could be going for right now. 1, 2. Even send up there, disrupt the wall. Because he's certainly got the population advantage to be able to do so. The Celt player has the slower unit composition at this point because, yeah, if you send 2, 3 Asabara to these little spots around the map, deny this, deny this, deny this, you know, you can end up pretty much locking out the game from here. But in saying that, Alundra taking the slow option, the safe option too, because he's taking H3 behind this. He's even taken the fishing ship upgrade. So is FF and Easy, but he's going to run out of fish eventually there. 150 population to 117, so Alundra does have a small advantage here, getting his barbed arrows upgrade finally. So there's a good number of slingers there now being marched into the army, but there's some Sparrow here to clean this up as well. Right now Alundra's still up by about 20 population over his opponent. Barbed arrows upgrade finishing up now, so he's going to get the benefit of that kicking in now too. Both players getting age 3. Alundra's a little bit faster, but FF and Easy walling up a substantial part of his base. And the fort's going to go up now too, so it will be a while for that to go up with only a villager, but it's going to mean that FF and Easy is not making a huge economic commitment to it. His own barbed arrows village upgrade is going to have to take a little while. Asabara over rallied there. So Alundra's going to have to be careful not to throw too many units away to that, because he hasn't got a huge lead over FF and EZ here. He's had a lot of map control, but FF and EZ now up to 61 villages to 72, so he's only down by 11 villages. Not a game-ending discrepancy by any means, although Alundra getting the gold from here and here in the mid-map to really deny his opponent, because he can back off back to his side of the map and gather. So it's something really smart I've seen from Alundra, is to try and overextend on the gold mines and then work his way back. This outpost is going to see this, but not really in time, I don't think. Alundra getting a whole bunch of upgrades here. Got his Asabara champion finishing up. He's got Bowman champion finished. Long swordsman champion a little bit slower from the Kelp player. So FF and Easy down just a little bit in terms of units. Doesn't have a lot of food in the bank at the moment either, so neither player taking their H3 town centre yet, and this fortress is going to finish up, so that's going to be good for FF and Easy, because it means he's going to be able to defend this little pass. But Alundra does have a nicely positioned army here, because he just needs to get some more bowmen down here to be able to put some pressure on here, because the Asabara can't tank that many spearmen. FF and Easy balling up the outside of the map, wants to make it really tough for his opponent to do anything. Meantime, Alundra has got a third town centre, just down here at this strange little spot. Don't know what he's intending to do with these villages. Oh, some words in the mix, so Alundra's bowmen gonna have to be careful with those. Bowman here from the Kelp player as well. Oh, the Bowman are going to pick off all those long swordsmen quite quickly. Some nice walling off here from FF and EZ, actually trying to secure as much of the map as he can. Alundra does have a small population advantage still, getting his own walls now. Siege Boy shot coming out, because I think he's spotted these walls here from his opponent. Or anticipated them at least. Interesting, FF and EZ blocking off his opponent from here, but little does he know he's already gathering from up here. Both players probably could be getting some more in the way of upgrades in Age 3. Alundra's actually got quite a few he could be getting. And because there's no aid tent, there's a lot of low units here for the Persian, which is fairly uncommon to see. You know, you really only need a storehouse and you can heal all the Persian units back up to full. Ram coming out now, but with woads on the map now, and a good number of them, It's going to be very hard for Alundra to send them in anywhere, so good compositional play here from the Celt. Age 4 being taken now by the Persian, who needs to look at getting Immortals, needs to look at getting Mounted Archers, go look at getting some Peltas, I mean not Peltas, what's they called? Takabara out. Alundra dancing with his whole army right now, so this isn't very efficient. This is costing him a lot of time with his army locked up in one place, but in saying that, I'm not sure if FF and Easy can really take this fight, because even though there's siege units in the mix, Alundra does have the bigger population, and there's not a huge front line in terms of spears at all, so all these Asabara are going to be able to clean up all the bowmen. In saying that, all the woads have cleaned up every single one of the bowmen for the Persian and the siege. So really rough fight there for both players, losing a lot of their range. And Alundra really needs to look at getting Immortals to deal with the Woad Raiders. Alundra taking Gold Age now, a little bit quicker than FF and Easy is going to be able to, because he's still well under 1,000 food and wood at this point in time. Some Immortals coming out now from Alundra. Idle villages there, so they can't actually get out there, I think is the problem. Don't know if Alundra realises 88 villages to 85, so he's a bit ahead on the worker count, but not by a huge amount at all. 3 workers, and he's got 11 idle here. He's got resources down here he could be gathering. But units ferrying all around the map. I don't know why. Oh, maybe because he needs to get a wall. Needs to get a gate. Alundra needs to get gates. A huge number of villages of FF and EZs unsuccessful in trying to get over here and gather. Throwing up another wall. But he largely doesn't have a lot to gather from himself at the moment. Having the siege in the mix isn't a good idea though, because Alundra needs as big of an army composition as he can get. He deletes one of the rams actually, just to fit some more units in, but he really needs to max out, needs a lot more gold right now. Fortunately for him, FF and Easy sort of overstepped the mark there. He's throwing away a big amount of his bowmen, and these woads are taking a bit more time than they could have to get onto the bowmen, but at the same time, it's not a good fight for Alundra, and he needs to get more gold in this position. So there should be ample gold free for Alundra out on the map still. He's got this gold mine here, and he does have this gold mine here, even though he's got to destroy this wall. He can even just use the villagers to chip through that. And I mean, he's already gathered a gold mine here and a stone mine there, so meantime, FF and Easy managing to push in because he's just had a more equal economy behind all this and didn't throw away his army there. Alundra, yeah, he didn't manage to respond in time, pull his army out, respond to the Woad Raider, and Horseman transition there for FF and Easy, so unfortunately being stuck on that earlier game comp has really cost him here, I think. I don't know if he's going to have enough to come back from this, but in saying that, he's still got a lot in the bank. FF and Easy still only in age 3, doesn't have a huge amount of map presence himself. He's going to get 4 markets. I don't know why the 4th, I suppose. It just takes that little bit longer to destroy it. And you've got that much wood in the bank. So it looks like this wall and this single market here from Alundra is going to go down, but he's already got one over the other side of his base, which is quite smart. But in saying that, it's still really going to slow him down because he's, again, hasn't got on either of these gold mines. He's sort of just been panicking, slowly producing units back here. And he's even going to try and get some cataphracts out, which I'm not sure is going to be worthwhile because they're just that expensive. And you can just go with mounted archers just to get through the horsemen, as well as immortals to deal with the woad raiders. And yeah, Sparrow to deal with the bowmen yourself, and just try and play a bit more aggressively around the map. And yeah, the cataphracts, they've got good stats, but they're just so expensive. And without champion, oh, he does have champion, so they only cost 3 pop rather than, I think it's 4. Good number of immortals here, going to make it hard for the woads to get on the bowmen. It's hard to tell who's going to win this one because not a huge amount of front line left for FF and EZ right now, but yeah, Alundra just has its... Oh, he does manage to pull it off. He's got the cataphracts there, and they really are putting in the work, I suppose. But he did have the age advantage regardless, and he's getting horseshoes behind this, so he's going to have really quite high value cavalry regardless of what they are. This double layer of walls for FF and EZ really proving quite solid though, because it's going to be impenetrable. He's gathering stone from up at the top side of the map, so I wonder if Alundra can try and respond to that by just skirting some cavalry around to deal with that. Going to throw down another market. He's still in this one for sure. He's still on this lake actually. There's still a little bit of fish here. FF and EZ. Very territorial, not very expansionistic at all here. Neither player sort of is lurking outside of this little quadrant here. And these walls have really slowed down Alundra, even though they shouldn't have. There's this much resources here that he could be getting right now. This much easy resources, but he's just letting these walls keep him trapped in. But FF and EZ, quite a low gold count himself because Alundra taking the gold there, and he took the gold down here as well, so he's burned through a lot of that gold his opponent could have quite easily. But this double fort setup is going to make it quite hard to push into. Alundra is going to be best off pushing in at the bottom side of the map or in here at the top side of the map. Bit of a slow journey maxing out here from both players right now. He's on the gold mine. Does have a couple of idle villages, so we got 76 villages for Alundra, 106 for FF and EZ at the moment. He just wants to try and outgather his opponent at this point. He's just playing it like PvE. I suppose if Alundra goes for a mangonel galley, he can actually, or if he even just gets a regular galley. Alundra can see that, so if he gets a regular galley, he can deal damage to the wood line. Then he can get a mangonel galley behind that and actually hit the town centre. So I'm not quite sure why he hasn't opted to do that just yet, unless he just can't afford it. Getting a defensive fortress of his own. Been a bit of a slow game this one. In the mid game, it was going to be a really high-paced game early, but it's really sort of slowed down now, and they're just sort of taking small trades, unwilling to throw this one away now. Alundra is up 1-0 in the series at the moment, and yeah, right now a mangonel galley or even a regular one could throw a bit of a spanner in the works here for FF and EZ gathering from down here, although he does have a huge amount of food, a huge amount of wood. He's got 51 wood gatherers at the moment. He's looking to just out-gather his opponent, win a war of attrition, even gathering the gold mine over here, taking gold age himself now. So, age 4 for him. Alundra, only at 180 max pop, hasn't finished his 4th town centre since losing it down the bottom there. And I don't know if this is Alundra's attempt at a bit of a final stand here. He does have some mounted archers in the mix, but not a lot because there's a huge amount of horsemen and there's only 2 mounted archers left. I think they're both about to fall. There is plenty of cataphracts too, and they don't actually counter cavalry, but they are just that tanky that they may be able to fight their way through this. So Alundra somehow manages to do that with those cataphracts. They've just got that much value. Perhaps he's just got to hit this bottom side here and he can find a way into his opponent's base. I think he's going to opt to do that now. Deciding against it, he's going to keep trying to sledgehammer his way through here the front gate, but I don't know if it's going to work. He's going to have to back off. There's double fortress there. It's just that much range damage. It's going to make it untenable. He's going to have to come down through here. Another fortress here from FF and EZ, so Alundra needs to try and hit that before that fortress goes up. A Palantonon in the mix for Alundra. And this gold mine. So both players are managing to pinch resources from off one another in this epic fight to the death. But this fortress isn't going to last forever now. Palantonon in the mix. There's plenty of cataphracts still here. So things are looking good for FF and EZ, even though, I mean, looking good for Alundra, even though he's down on the scores. FF and EZ is a much bigger bank, but he's just doesn't have the unit comp, and right now there's cannon knocking on the door. There's this Palantonon just launching these big rocks straight into the front gate. Although Alundra needs to really keep this thing alive and try and work down the gate as quick as he can. Why is it shaking like that? They don't normally shake like that, do they? Is that just because of the lag? So now he's going to take down the second gate. FF and EZ going to throw up another fortress and going to try and sneak some word raiders around. Alundra really quite down on the score, has a much smaller bank than his opponent and is being attacked from both sides here. So he is going to lose the Palantonons, but he may be able to win this fight still because he is still roughly even population. Yeah, FF and EZ still can't actually fight him head on at this point. There is still that gold mine for FF, just continuing to print money for him. So there's even a swan ship been built by FF and EZ. He wants to secure that lake, but there is only the two schools of fish left, so probably only about 1600 food there. More cataphracts coming out now. 5 production at a time. Palantonon as well. Alundra having to back off once again. He needs to get the Palantonons to actually deal damage to the fortress, but he needs to get in there in time before the third one finishes up. And FF isn't an EZ slowly continuing to expand around the map now. He's going to end up all the way around here eventually. 77 villages to 104. Shipping. Why would you get shipping lanes, FF? Why? You're not tributing resources to anyone, are you? But the fortress does go down now, and the Palantonon can be used to land a huge shot on these bowmen if he wishes. He's actually going to try and focus down the horsemen. Does actually get taken down in the end there, but Alundra down to 150 population now. FF and EZ has a huge score lead over him right now. Now that the words are able to attack all the range with reckless abandon, I think this might be too much for him. FF and EZ is now pushing Alundra back. And we're 38 minutes into this one. Another fortress going down for FF and EZ. Alundra has a lot of idle villages, and that's really costing him here in the late game. Not only is he down by 30 villages, but he has a lot of idlers, and if he can really get those guys back to work, he can close that gap a little bit and use the fact that he can have the bigger army advantage to actually take some good fights. But no cataphracts in the mix again this time, so I think this might be it for Alundra. He just hasn't got the high value armies he's been putting out before. And now FF and Easy actually has some Age 4 upgrades on the way. Actually, he is going to start getting some compentoms out. I think it's going to be really, really scary for Alundra in this next couple of fights. The words coming in, dealing a huge amount of charge damage there. And Alundra, I think he's going to have to surrender this one because he's going to lose this front line again. And yeah, he's down to 120 population to his opponent's 180. Warrior Raid of Champions finishing up. Composite Bows finishing up. There's, yeah, nearly 200 pop now for FF and Easy. He's got his Age 4 TC. Walled off all that bottom side, so he's done a tremendous job coming back from this one. Was that a 39-minute town watch upgrade? That's still, yeah, that was a 39-minute town watch upgrade. Holy crap! And you're behind. Crazy. How many villages are here? 33 villages. Nuts. Unbelievable. So Alundra is going to try and go for one last stand. And we are 40 minutes into the game. But he's only at 175 population. FF and Easy is at 200. And he has... oh, what do we have here? About 17k resources in the bank. And he's got a stone thrower here in the mix. All of his Age 4 upgrades, yeah, now finally kicking in. So he's finally on even footing in terms of army with his opponent. This is War Wagon in the mix, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Stone thrower taking a little while to chip through this wall. Yeah, so Alundra definitely doesn't have the opportunity to remax behind this, whereas FF and Easy, it's like the Battle of 300, but sort of in reverse, really. FF and Easy has the resources to keep remaxing behind this as much as he pleases, whereas the Persian player just simply is out of food, very low amount of gold behind this. FF and Easy getting a whole bunch more words. That gold mine still for FF and Easy is nearly finished now. But Alundra retreating now, only 120 population. FF and Easy just about maxed out once again. I think this is going to be a GG. Is it time I just admin win this? A lot of distance gathering going on down here, guys. What's the go going on down here? There we go. He can hear me. He can hear me. Couple of individual Asabara heading out to their doom. Whoa, whoa, that's some epic range. 26 attack range, damn. And Alundra really struggling to try and max out behind this. He just doesn't have the resources. FF and Easy is in a great position to push to win from here, I think. What's he going on there for? Just attack the fortress. So Alundra going to try and leave it to the last moment so he can get the units out. But if he leaves it too long, he's not going to have any fortress fire at all, so he's not going to get any benefit out of that. He's going to want to try and snipe the stone throw, but FF and Easy is not going to have any of it, I don't think. There's a Rite of Andrasta coming out, so 15% increased damage for the Celt player. So the Horsemen went in on to the Mounted Archers at first, and then the Woads chased around the Asabara, so it wasn't the most effective trade there at first, but he did end up getting the fortress, has ended up killing all the units. FF and Easy has now managed to break Alundra here, I think. Wall going down. right of Andrusta finishing up now. The watch post being built, so he'll be able to see what's over here and actually build a stone thrower if he wishes. But GG, Alundra taps out. 43 minutes and 40 seconds, guys. What a game that was. Holy crap, that went on forever. GG, well played. I'm going to go for a quick smoke break and we're going to get game number 3 underway on equal footing, which will not take that long, I assure you. I'll make this text a little bit bigger. There we go. There we go, that's a little bit better. That's better. Alright, let's have a bit of a stats recap now. Alright guys, well, we're going to have a quick break for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to get game number 3 underway. I'll just do a bit of a stats wrap up. I don't even know what I'm looking at here, but FF and EZ eventually, with that big work account lead, managed to make a big, 40k resources gain over his opponent there. Using 750 units in the end to win that one. What a game. Anyway guys, we're going to have a quick intermission and then we'll be back into it with game number 3. So thanks for tuning in, we won't be long. Alright guys, sorry about the big delay there. We just had a bit of a food and drinks and smokes break there for myself and the players. So we're starting out on equal footing for game number 3. Looks like it's all gone without a hitch. Alrighty, so picking Greek for game number 3 today. We've got FF and EZ, player number 1 as the Greeks. And, oh, I don't know if he's realised, yeah, a little bit slow there. Bit of a mistake. And player number 2 today as the Red Babylonian. We've got Alundra, and he's throwing down a barracks. FF and EZ going for a storehouse. So already spawning with the ox cart. Alundra can use that to go on the hunt. Just needs to make sure he gets 50 wood, which he has, so he can get another ox cart for when he goes on the wood. So looks as though he's going to have much faster spear aggression than his opponent right now. Well, not that much faster because FF and EZ going for a barracks, but still half the barracks is build time behind. And what's that? Probably about 20 seconds. So probably 2 spears behind really. Sorry, I am just trying to eat and play at the same time. Eat and cast. So we see much faster spears coming out from Alundra. 2 spears ahead basically. And FF and EZ. He's going to have to try and hold off as best as he can against this. Before the scary Bab versus Greek Age 2. Which isn't unwinnable by Greek, but it's obviously... There's a lot of opportunity for Babylonian with mass lancers, or with being able to play with the with their bowmen. And thank you for whatever that was, if that was a donation or a bits or whatever that was. FF and EZ actually with nothing in production at the moment. Alundra without any spears in production at the moment, but he's desperately trying to get straight onto the workers because he knows if he can force these off, he can slow down FF and EZ's economy. So he's actually split the spears up to try and target them, but FF and EZ able to save them with his own spears. So Alundra having to back off in the end there, but FF and EZ with a bit of a messy economy, still distance gathering the wood over here until he's got double what he actually needs, getting a storehouse there for his gold mine as well. So, and a little bit of downtime again with his workers and his spears production, whereas Alundra a little bit better job of his macro behind all this. So he's, yeah, definitely applying the pressure to his opponent, rattling FF and EZ early, trying to give himself a bit of an eco advantage going into Age 2 to make it even scarier, give himself the time he needs to get those gardens down. So he does have a nice advantage. And right now, FF continuing, yeah, to get more spears. But 17 to 14, the worker counts, and that's dead even because there is 3 ox carts. But again, FF and EZ forced to rally off and to play reactively to try and chase Alundra out, but he's also forced off the wood line in the meantime. So as long as Alundra doesn't throw too much away here, he's going to continually dealing damage to these villages and delay the economy of FF and EZ, although FF getting the Age 2 a little bit quicker than his opponent. So Alundra going to have to transition as well, and he doesn't want to get too many spears considering the Greek does have an anti-infantry unit, whereas the Babylonian doesn't. Right now FF might even have slightly bigger spearman count than his opponent. My count's 20 to 16 in favour of Alundra, but I think that's probably going to be all ox carts, or maybe one worker in favour of Alundra. But yeah, he's not going to have his HQ on the way just yet. Although he's got the resources. Oh, here we go. A little bit slow on the food, I suppose, to get it out. Whereas FF, getting it out now. A lot of spears in. 230 health versus 250. Well, I think Alundra is going to win this fight ultimately. Yeah, Alundra, even though he does have the smaller unit count, I think he's going to be able to win this one because he is just a little bit closer. His barracks is only here, and he does have that fresh spear coming in. So it's going to be the tipping point. FF and Easy's is going to take that a little bit longer to come in, and he's going to be rallied off, and I don't think he's going to be able to get anything. So, yeah, Alundra. Oh, he's splitting up to attack that one, but needs to kill these two as quickly as he can. But FF and Easy is backing off. He's trying. Oh, it's actually continuing to. Oh, here we go. Producing Spearmen because he's anticipating some lances. There's a range coming out instead, so this is really smart from the bad player. But FF and Easy getting the better of the fight there. And he is going to be able to clean this up as well. He might even get 2 or 3 of the villagers out of this, because Alondra isn't going to have any units to be able to defend against this. It's quite a greedy hunt. He's got this backline one he could have taken quite safely. And probably another one down there he could have taken, but he is going to lose 2 villagers for this. Oh no, maybe only 1. Yeah, only 1. But still, not ideal for him. But he is, yeah, producing bowmen as well. So the Greek player instead, faster second town centre. So FF and Easy is going to get an eco advantage out of that, but there is the stables coming out now from Alundra as well. So FF and Easy was able to actually scout the stables there. And he's coming in at a reasonable time. He can snipe the garden if he wants to, even if it's finished. They are quite squishy, so 500 health. It is going to go down quite quickly. And it is a bit of an expense, really. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the range for this, but FF and Easy is certainly going to try. Alundra is going to try and push in the meantime. And there is units here to defend now, popping out of the 3 production facilities, but Alundra is also pushing into FF and Easy's base right now, who's actually way behind on score at the moment. So he must have taken a really bad fight now, I suppose. He just wouldn't have had the numbers because he sent most of his units up through this way, and now he's lost them all, and FF isn't Easy. Is now the one having to try and defend here because he did snipe the garden, but at what cost? He really split his army up then, and because he had gone for the more greedy opening with this faster second town centre compared to Alundra, he was way behind on actual military units, and he's got a lot of idlers, undoing the fact that he's got that second town centre, and these guys aren't going to get too much value, but there is more units on the way, and this is going to give Alundra the breathing room to get the second town centre as well. So FF and Easy really starving for food at the moment. He's going to try and take another hunt over here, and he can take one up here as well, but right now he's losing houses. And there's units in his base. He doesn't have any units to respond with. He's producing nothing. Right now he's on half his opponent's population. 33 workers to 23. And more houses are going to fall. So this is going to put pressure on FF and Easy because he wants to get more production facilities. But he's going to need to get more houses as well. And yeah, he's going to want to be gathering food to actually pump out the units. Rallying off that berries, I think, to get on the hunt. Yeah, probably just to get even faster food gathering up out of that. But right now he's losing houses. Alundra just has a lot of units. Production facilities being pumped out by FF and EZ, even getting some Saris in the mix. But there's a lot of Lancers, there's a lot of Spearmen from the BAB as well. So FF and EZ really well behind on score. About half his opponent's population at the moment still. And the Sari being rallied in to try and hit the bowman. So this is good control from FF and EZ. There's spears coming back to try and mop it up though. So Alundra has noticed it's out in the field as well. Plenty of spears and lancers in here causing chaos. Going to be able to get that. Oh, he does get the low villager. So really well spotted there from Alundra. Focusing down low villagers in his opponent's base, even while he's taking a big fight like this. So he's really pushing himself to the limit here, getting another villager there with the lancers, and FF and EZ fighting under both town centers at the moment. They are quite split up, but he does have some units here in the back line. Finally mopping things up at his second town center, and Alundra is going to pull out of his first town center, but he's actually going to try and focus down the town center, deal what damage he can to it, to try and bait FF and EZ to try and take an attack here with what little units he has, rather than trying to max out properly behind it and take a good fight, because he does still only have half of his opponent's population. Alundra can keep streaming units across the map behind this really. Just needs a little bit more food gathering. But he has plenty of berries there safely in his own base. And that's a lot of units there FF and EZ has to tidy up. As long as Alundra can start attacking some of them. He's just focusing on macro in his own base though, but he's got the breathing space to be able to do so. He's got, yeah, again, he's still got a 20 pop lead over his opponent. He's going to try and snipe this town center. He's got it down to 2/3 of the way, but he's just going to try and take a good fight here before he cleans up the rest of it, because FF and EZ is getting close to the 50 pop mark. He's still really low on food at the moment. The town center, he's only at about 2k health. It's a lot of bowmen here to try and clean this up, but there's bowmen and lancers here, not just spears, so FF and EZ doesn't have to worry too much about this. He may, oh, but there is a worker on it, repairing it, so FF and EZ has left it to the last moment to get this repaired, but it's going to pay off for him, I think, because it's going to go nowhere in terms of damage, and Alundra is going to have to back out there, so that worker just saved the town center. FF and EZ though has a lot of workers dangerously positioned here, so if Alundra spots them, it could be all over for them, but I don't think Alundra actually knows about this yet. That worker repairing that though, that's going to cost FF and EZ a little bit of wood and stone, and he's going to have to gather more stone to be able to finish repairing that. Right now he's still behind by about 25 population. Alundra taking his second town center behind this, and yeah, he's in a nice spot himself. And I think Alundra just has a little bit too much now, because there's some slingers in the mix. There's still some cavalry as a bit of a front line. But he needs to get all of his units in here, because while there's only half of them are fighting, he's not getting the full value out of this, so he's actually just too busy looking at macroing back at home, I suppose. And there's so much resource gathering here for FF and EZ that's exposed, so if Alundra was actively scouting with the Lancer, he might be able to see some of this going on and really be able to put this game to rest. At the same time, FF and EZ still needs to get on top of his food gathering so he can keep cranking out the units. He does have plenty of production facilities. And there's no pharmacology taken yet by the Babylonian. He's been that busy producing units to take the tech. And right now, Alundra up by about 30 population. Transitioning to farms pretty early, because I think he's a bit worried about getting on all these berries, and he didn't really spot much over this side. He might finally have the units to be able to do this. Some slingers coming up to deal with the bowmen now. And the Sari is going to fall as well, so there's just bowmen really left for FF and EZ. There's plenty of slingers here. There's a couple of spears in the mix, but they're not going to be that vulnerable considering they're stacked amongst amongst lancers. And right now FF forced back into the middle of his base, once again by Alundra. Alundra is finishing up Templar upgrade as well, so all of his melee is going to hit that little bit harder. Right now, worker counts of 50 to 35, 15 workers difference right now. There's more workers for Alundra than total population for FF and EZ. And once again, FF having to garrison everything at that town centre. Not a lot of villagers left there, not really any military other than what's just instantly popping out here. And there's enough range for the Saris to fall really quickly and not get any value. Another villager gonna fall as well, so 32 vills to 52. A couple of panic towers going up for FF and EZ. He might be able to get them down in time, but I don't know if he'll be able to defend with them. Alundra just has units everywhere in his base at the moment. FF is trying to pump out the towers, doesn't have a huge amount of villagers on them, but there is a lot of units just attacking things that aren't high value. But here we go, now there's more lancers coming in on the villagers. FF and EZ down to 30 villagers, Alundra up to 57. And there's yet more streaming across the map for him. He's finally cleaned up some of the stuff up there, but I think he missed the workers at the berries there. Just cleaning up the storehouse itself. A couple of towers in the mix though, going to make it hard for Alundra to keep streaming the units in, because now there's plenty of static defense fire, but at the same time FF and EZ not at liberty to keep gathering at the moment, and it's really interrupting his ability to produce anything. 25 villagers to 59 at the moment. The Lancers, everything retreating from Alundra.
Glory to the Empire!
I'm sorry, thank you for the follow, I was just eating. And FF and EZ, gonna try and take a gold mine, gonna try and find some food actually, I think. Just give me a watch post there just in case. But he's so far behind at the moment. Age 3 for Alundra, nearly finishing up, and he's got a huge number of lancers here in the mix, splitting his army up, sending some lancers in for a harass. While everything else just sits outside his opponent's base, doesn't see anything there. But he can continue heading out and scouting what else is on the map, but he's deciding, actually no, I'll go in with everything at once. So I think he wants to just take these towers out. Pharmacology being researched behind all this. Alundra 25 population, FF and EZ only at 56. Alundra just needs to finish off the towers and he can probably seal the deal here. Some slingers in the mix, there's Toxotes, there's not a lot of Saris here. So in fact I don't think there's any left now, so not really a front line for the Toxotes at all either. These villagers coming back, and GG, FF and EZ calls it, and we have a winner today folks. Thank you for watching, and Alundra is victorious over FF and EZ in the final game in the best of 3. Wait to villagers trade, yay. Alundra really putting the pressure on there. A couple of villager production gaps himself that game too, and yeah, GG guys, some nice aggression from both players, and ultimately Alundra the victor. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll bring you some more games tomorrow, so you better be there because I'll be here. See you around.